передает легкую музыку.
Welcome to the American Dream podcast, the show where I interview Eastern European immigrants to see their perspective of the American dream. I'm your host, Ekaterina. Привет. I'm here with Yulia, or should I call you Julia?
Yulia is better.
When I just moved to the United States, everyone had the biggest trouble ever pronouncing my Russian name. That's why I wanted to make sure that you are comfortable with me calling you Yulia. So, me and you met at the Russian store. And the thing that stuck in my head about you is that me and you have the exact same last name. When I lived in Russia, no one that I knew had the last name that I got, even my mother. Me and her have this different last names. She got a divorce, so she took her own childhood last name, and so she just lived with it forever. And so when I met you, I was like, oh my God, that's so crazy. What are the odds to meet a person with the exact same last name on the other end of the planet? Okay, well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So besides your last name, I don't know much about you, so let's just start by getting to know you a little bit more. So where were you born? How did you immigrate here? And why Missouri? I feel like 90% of people that I met so far been asking me. Every immigrant that we know is moving to a bigger city with, better career opportunities. And why did you choose Missouri?
Oh, it's actually a long story. I was born in a small city of Yoshkar-Ola in the central part of Russia, and I never planned to come to America. And it so happened that I met my American husband online, and he came to visit me in Yoshkar-Ola 2 weeks after we started talking. He decided to bring me, but at that time he lived in Florida. So me and my daughter, we came to Florida. It was October 2015.
So you moved from Yoshkar-Ola to Florida because you met your husband online.
Yes.
So how did you ended up in Missouri?
My husband, so now he's my ex-husband, he, after 9 months staying in Florida, he suddenly decided that he wanted some changes and he moved us to Texas. And so my daughter had to go to different high school, and I've got a job, and I was very happy in Texas. I found new friends. I was about to have a very good career there, and I was very happy to share with my husband about it. But as soon as I told him that I was planning to get a good career in Texas, he changed his mind and he said, now we are moving to Springfield, Missouri. I said, why Missouri? I went there a long time ago. I liked it, and my brother lived there, so I decided we had to go there. Within 1 week, we packed and we moved there. It was a big shock for us. So I had to start my life from zero again, and my daughter had to go to a different school again.
So it's good that you mentioned about your ex-husband, because I feel like love is going to be kind of the main topic of today's episode. So you told me that there are some problems that you faced in your first American marriage.
Yeah, he seemed to be an amazing man because he was so romantic, and it was completely different from what I experienced with Russian men. And I decided I could follow him anywhere. So that's why we moved from place to place, and I thought, no problem, I could start my life from zero again. But as soon as we moved to Springfield, I started noticing some big changes in him.
Oh.
His mood changed, and he was unhappy with lots of things. He complained about everything. He started raising his voice. He could get aggressive sometimes.
Oh, wow.
And after about 7 months staying in Springfield, it was February. He brought me flowers for St. Valentine's Day. And the next day I came from work, and he told me, I got tired of you and your daughter. I don't feel like providing for both of you anymore. And I want you to pack your stuff and get out. And when I told him we had nowhere to go, he said, I would force you to do that. I could drop you to the airport. So he changed locks in the cars, and he didn't give us our mailbox. And he insisted he should take us to the airport. I told him I could not take my daughter 3 years back to the same school where he left Russia.
Wow.
And I decided that I would fight for my daughter and for her future in America. So we moved out, we rented an apartment, I hired 2 lawyers, and we decided to stay here.
Wow, no, that's a very heartbreaking story to hear, and you are a very inspiring lady to go through all of that and still stay strong and still believe in love, because you got married after that.
Yes.
You are currently married, and how is it to be married to someone from a completely different culture? I know you had an experience with that before your current marriage, so let's just go back to that, to your first experience. How was it? You've mentioned something about how different he was from the Russian men that you used to date, or have you been married before your American marriage, or was that your first one?
I had a Russian husband. I married when I was 23, and we had a daughter together. Now she's 22. But he was a heavy drinker.
Oh.
He used to drink a lot. He never brought money home. It was a terrible marriage. And after 4 years and a half, I just ran away. I left everything in our apartment. I just ran away from him.
Wow.
And after a few years after our divorce, he ended up dying from drinking.
Oh, my God.
He was 35.
Oh, my God.
My daughter doesn't even remember him. She was 3 years old when we left.
Wow. So how is it to be married to a person from a different culture?
It's different. And when I got married to my my ex-husband, I thought it would be completely different, but he ended up to be not a very good person. So I thought even American men could be bad. Mm-hmm. And I decided I would just concentrate on my daughter. And after a couple of years after my divorce, I decided to try my luck again. And I was so lucky to meet my current husband. He is also an American, and he is the best man in the world.
Would you say the language barrier is a good or bad thing? What I mean by a good thing is that when you talk less, you might fight less. Is that a thing?
Oh, sometimes yes. Like my ex-husband used to say, I wish you could talk less. So he said he was a dominant man and he wanted a woman who would never talk, who would not speak language. He regretted that he met me and I could speak English pretty well. In this case, I told him, you better have a dog, but not a woman.
That's right. Yeah.
Because he did not want his woman to talk and to argue with him at all.
Man.
But now I found out that it's a blessing to speak this language, and we had an amazing conversations with my husband. We can discuss any topic. We watch American movies together and we discuss everything. He is very happy that I could speak English well. And we have big parties with all his relatives where I can talk, and they're very curious that they have the first Russian-speaking relative in their huge family.
That's good. Can you name 5 top positive features that American men have?
According to my current husband, I guess. Patient, loving, caring, trustworthy, hardworking.
So that's your current husband?
Yeah.
Okay. What about negative features?
Slow.
Slow.
I have I have good energy. I like to do things fast. Sometimes I have to push him, tell him what to do. Let's do it faster. He's a hard thinker. He will think a lot before he will do something. Maybe it's not a bad feature. He reminds me a lot of my father, but it's probably not really a bad quality. I don't really know. We've been married for 2 years and there's nothing that annoys me, really.
Which is not a problem. It's a good thing.
Yeah. 2 more years, call me again.
So when it comes to Russian men and comparing them to American, I know it's not a correct question to ask compared to different men from 2 different cultures, but still, what would you say?
I have lots of friends in Russia, in my city, and honestly, I've never seen any very good, happy marriage between Russian men and Russian women. And in my city, Yoshkar-Ola, it's almost each second is a divorce. So I've never seen any happy relationship there. And after my personal bad marriage, I decided I would never want to have a Russian man again next to me. So that's why I decided to try a foreigner. And I was lucky to come here. So I guess American men are much better.
Well, I mean, it worked out for my mother the same way. She was married twice. First one was the Russian, and it was my father. I've never seen him in my life. And now she's married to an American guy. So
my sister lives in America. She moved here in 2001. And she has a very happy marriage with an American man.
Thank you so much, Yulia, for sharing your story with us. We got to take our break. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back. You're listening to the American Dream podcast. I'm your host, Ekaterina, in the studio with Yulia Kozlova. So I want to start this part by saying a very interesting quote that we will come back to at the end of the episode. The American dream is a simple Russian fairy tale. I feel like every single Russian fairy tale has a story of a prince that saves his lady from a certain life situations and they live happily ever after. So this quote kind of leads us into the perspective of the American dream that we've been looking at and we will continue looking at today, which is love. So you have an American husband. Would you say having an American husband is an American dream?
I would say yes, especially now. After having bad relationships, yes, I am pretty content with my life now because living in Russia, I probably would never be able to buy my own car, to buy my own house, just working as a teacher. And now I have a good car. I live in an amazing home in 2.5 acres. We have 5 pets. We have a boat and a camper. We enjoy our life.
So how do you feel about American dream in general? Did you had an American dream when you were moving here?
Talking to my sister who lived in California and I was in Russia, talking to her through Skype almost every day, I thought that, yes, life in America is very interesting. And as soon as I moved here, I thought I could get the same. And I was not lucky at first, but now I would say that, yes, American dream does exist. And yeah, I know that lots of Russians, they dream to come here. They think it's much easier to live here. Everything is better here. You can have a better job. You can have a nice house and not even one car. That's why lots of people want to come here and fulfill their plans. Most of the time, it happens. Lots of Russian girls, they dream about American husbands because after having misfortune with Russian men, they think that American men were much better.
Okay, so what was your American dream? When you were moving here from Yoshkar-Ola to Florida, you probably had some expectations. What were your expectations? What was your American dream?
I just wanted to be loved and respected, and I wanted my American husband to value our relationship because I never had it in my life before. And when I met my husband and I realized that I was really living my dream, I decided that it would be great to move to America and try a completely different life together.
So what is the American dream from a love perspective for you? By that question, I mean, what was the expectation of how did you thought your American husband is going to treat you before you met him in person?
I've heard lots of interesting stories because when I was 24, I used to work as a translator in the very first dating agency that opened in Yoshkar-Ola. And there were lots of Russian women who wanted to correspond with American men. And I was the one who were searching for them on the websites and translating their letters back and forth. That's how I found a husband for my sister. And I talked a lot to American men even before I met my own. So I asked them, why Russian women? They said, we heard that Russian women are so family oriented. They could work, they could take care of the house, the children at the same time. And when my sister's American husband came to visit us in Russia, I asked him the same question. He said, only Russian woman, nobody else. And he said, I'm a family man and I want a family woman. I don't want to come home from work and see that my woman is somewhere in the business meeting or still at work. So he said, I want to spend time together with my wife as much as possible, but not having separate lives. And besides, I heard from Russian woman who was married to an American man. And she said, I had a Russian husband and I cooked so many meals every day and he never appreciated anything. But as soon as I married an American man, when I fried potatoes for him, he carried me in his arms the whole day. He was so happy.
Aww.
So I remembered that it was so many years ago. And then I thought that American men were probably so different from Russian men. And now I agree with them.
So when you said that there was an American man who wanted only Russian women, don't you think it's kind of creepy?
Probably not. If some of them, they had their friends married to Russian women, and they saw a big difference.
Oh, okay.
Being married to an American and being married to Russian.
Okay.
That were most of the cases.
Okay. So they had an example in front of them.
Yes.
And that's how they knew that they want that as well.
Yes.
Okay. How does your husband feel about the American dream?
My husband never had any experience with Russian people before he met me. And he was so curious, he was so excited, and he was... now I feel that he is so proud of me, and he likes to introduce me to all his friends. His family, they love me a lot.
So was that his first experience being married to a person from a different country?
Yes.
Okay. And have he ever asked you things like, what is your American dream? What can I do for you to make your dream come true?
No. He believes that happy wife is a happy life.
Ah.
That's why whatever I want, he always tells me, do what will make you happy.
I feel like a lot of American people say that. It's like the quote of this country.
Yeah. I don't have any restrictions. He will do anything, wherever will make me happy.
Finally, did you reach your American dream in general and in love? And do you think that you're living a simple Russian fairy tale right now?
Yeah, I think I achieved my dream. I'm very happy now. And I feel like after 45, my happy life has just begun. I finally have an amazing man who will do anything for me. I have a job that I like. It's my first ever experience living in my own house. And I would never drive a car in Russia. Now I have a car. And we could travel, we could go anywhere we want. Yeah, I think I'm living my dream.
Yeah, your simple Russian fairy tale.
I don't need much. And even my husband, he always tells me, if you don't want to work, you can stay at home. I don't want you to work hard. You can have fun. You can go to beauty salons, do whatever you want.
Wow, you found yourself a very good husband.
Yeah, but I said, no, I'm not used to that. I want to have my own pocket money. I don't want to ask you to buy me stuff. I want to buy you birthday gifts, not from your pocket, but from my own pocket. And it's so different for him because he never experienced that.
Thank you so much, Yulia, for sharing your love story, for sharing your thoughts about the American dream. And before you leave, I just wanted to let you know that now that you shared that you achieved your American dream when it comes to love, I expect you to help me with my American dream when it comes to love. So hopefully you'll find me a husband.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. Follow us on Instagram at podcasttad and like us on Facebook.